Good morning. Is it just me, or did anyone else have chills listening to Alex? Incredible, right? Yeah, super impressive. I have to admit that my vertigo was acting up backstage just listening to his story. And I don't know if it's his version that it's not real vertigo, that it's just fear of falling. I had my both feet on the ground and I could feel vertigo, so I still go with vertigo. But we're going to segue to the next panel. And the panelists that I'm about to introduce actually have a lot in common with Alex Honnold. I bet you didn't know that, right? They are tech CEOs. They move mountains every single day, and they achieve amazing, unbelievable summits. So it's my pleasure to welcome our panelists today, starting with Michael Gohl, Chairman and CEO of Intermedia, Dr. TJ, CEO of AvePoint, Srini Kaushik, President, AI and Sustainability and CTO at Rackspace, and Ezequiel Steiner, CEO at Acronis. Hey. Good to have you. So welcome. Great to have all of you with us today, and we're going to jump right in. So yesterday, one of the things that we heard a lot about during keynotes as well as on panel is how buyer habits are changing. And we were talking a lot about how their buying is changing. But I'd like to focus this a little bit on what they're buying. We have a lot of technology providers in the room, so what end customers are buying is very important. So Srini, I'm going to start with you. What shifts are you seeing in what customers are buying, and what impact is that having?
Well, first of all, following Alex, never do that. But you know, the market today is a hybrid market. You know, there's no doubt that cloud computing has driven the past decade. And the market is a hybrid market, and what that really means is that one size fits all, one vendor fits all doesn't necessarily work, right? And so companies like AppDirect and others are perfectly positioned because what you look for is a multi-sided marketplace where I could go in and, as a consumer, be able to kind of work with multiple vendors through one place. And that's a huge shift, right? In the past, was a CIO 15, 20 years ago, and it was always like, okay, now you got to meet with the Cisco partner, and then you have to go deal with them. And that whole process was taking a lot of time that really has been simplified with it. And so the buyer habits have changed, but it's also being dictated by how the whole technology landscape has changed.
Yeah, excellent, yeah. And TJ, I want to ask you the same question, but before I do, talk about achievements. So TJ ran a marathon in Australia this weekend before flying and joining us at the conference. So talk about achievements, right?
It's just a marathon, it's not El Capitan, so.
That's next, right? That's next weekend. So yeah, what are your thoughts on how buyers have now, are focused on different solutions?
Yeah, the buyers today are far more educated, and they do a ton of research. And as technology disruption happening faster and faster, especially for small to medium businesses, the buyers now increasingly rely on value-added partner like MSPs, many of you in the audience, the advisors, that provide that holistic technology advisory. I think every business now have to be a tech business. There's no choice to survive. And I actually recently took a class in innovative disruptive theory from the Singularity Institute. They talk about, hey, you know, with technology, with Moore's law being performance price point improvement every 2 years for now 50 plus years, that exponential growth, it's introducing so much disruption. So we actually, as technology companies, we live in a very, very exciting times. So buyers are more sophisticated, but at the same time, they do want to have partners who can be more holistic advisor to help them leverage the latest technology, whether it's in cloud, whether it's leveraging AI to do more innovative stuff. So we as technology vendors have to move just as quick So we always talk about AvePoint, a year is eternity. If we don't disrupt ourselves, the market will.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's exciting times, but also scary times for technology providers as well.
Yeah, and with all of these change in the buyer's habit, you've got to evolve as a company. And I think we also have to evolve as a channel. So Mike, I'm going to come over to you. So what have you seen in terms of changes in the channel, and how do you see it evolve in the future?
Well, from my perspective, I should probably explain where my perspective comes from. So Intermedia provides a suite of cloud communication collaboration services, UCaaS, CCaaS, email security and such. And we sell almost exclusively through channel partners. So what I've seen over the last few years is as software as a service, as cloud applications become more prevalent, you have many of these vendors who, particularly the newer ones, they're going direct to the customers. And so disintermediating all of you. Now, over the last few years, we've seen many of those realize that there's value in the channel. There's value in advisors, there's value in managed service providers. And so the evolution then is, what can you as partners add to be more valuable so that you're not disintermediated? And it's a challenge. And it's obviously things like training, consulting, advisory services, integration of these applications, integration from legacy PBXs to other applications, or just being really good about migrating from an on-prem or a legacy system to the cloud.
Yeah, it's the value-added services that make a huge difference.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. And Izzy, what are your thoughts? What have you seen in terms of channel changes, and what are you seeing coming ahead?
Yeah, along the same lines as what Michael was describing, and very much as a result of the transformation in the customer buying processes that DJ was alluding to. We see that service providers are the future of, I think, at least the SMB market. We at Acronis, we basically bet our company on that vision of the future. We are, in essence, developing our products not just with the end customer in mind, but also on the service provider that is going to be servicing those customer needs. And so thinking about how that service provider can do things more efficiently, protecting their customers' IT infrastructure in the easiest and most effective way. I think that's in essence what we believe is our mission, because we see that these service providers will have to add a lot of value for those customers, basically take over the management of their IT, and it's going to be very difficult for them to actually do a good job unless they have the right tools. And so we see ourselves as the enabler of that service, and that's how we structure our company.
It's interesting because you actually have developed products to align to the different types of partners, those that want to just sell and not deliver the services, but others, MSPs, who may want to host the software and deliver the services. So the channel is actually influencing your product evolution, which is awesome, I think, kind of cool. But so speaking of evolution, marketplaces, right? So we are at an AppDirect conference, so we are going to talk about marketplaces. So Srini, we're seeing a lot of marketplaces, proliferation, and Gartner is saying that the market growth on B2B transaction on marketplace growing, almost doubling every year. How does that play into your strategy, and what are you seeing?
Yeah. Marketplaces, I think if you need any more validation, just look at what AWS and all of these guys are doing. They're trying to push a lot of things through the marketplace. So the simplicity of buying through a marketplace, that sells itself. However, as the other panelists, as Mike talked about and Izzy talked about, as technology gets more and more complex, you actually do need those advisory services and everything else to kind of implement it. So a good example that all of us kind of know about is Microsoft Copilot. They've done a phenomenal job of selling it, right? Saying this is great.
Right.
But if you are a small and medium business customer, paying $30 per license per month doesn't get you the benefit that's needed. The advisory services as to how you incorporate it into that is absolutely critical to do. And that's something that services bundled with the product is something that it's evolving to. The other thing that the marketplaces has to think about is what are the types of value-added services we can build. Just given my portfolio, sustainability, right? Scope 3 emissions requires you to kind of talk about the sustainability of your value chain, of the supplier value chain. So one of the areas that marketplaces can really help is, in addition to simplifying the buying, it's like I can give you better details about the sustainability of that value chain. Yeah. That kind of starts creating that moat that keeps the buyers with you and kind of hedges against some of this disruption that we're talking about.
For sure. And Izzy, how do marketplace play into your go-to-market strategy, if at all? But yes would be a really good answer.
That is a great question. We did some analysis of the MSP market, and we found that 92% of MSPs actually believe marketplaces are a critical tool for their future. And 50% already using marketplaces, and the other 50% are doing it within 1 year. So critically important for all of us, right? As the MSP moves its behavior, we need to adapt to it, and our go-to-market adapts to it too. So instead of thinking about just dealing with the service provider from the buying process, from the lead generation up until the fulfillment, we think about how do we help the service provider grow after the fact? How do we train that service provider? How do we help that service provider grow their business? And so that completely changes the way that our go-to-market is organized.
Yeah, definitely. And TJ, at AvePoint, how do you think of marketplace? Do they factor into your go-to-market strategy, your investment strategy?
Absolutely. When I first started at AvePoint 20 plus years ago, we were very much a direct organization, sales organization focused on large enterprise and regulated industry. And we got into SaaS in early 2011. And that allowed us to become more accessible to the medium to small business segment. And we gone public 3 years ago. And since then, we declared that we want to be a channel-driven, full scaling business. And marketplace has been our biggest investment. In fact, we went from very little channel to now we run $250 million through marketplaces. Wow. And in 4 years, that number will be over $800 million. It's all focused around unstructured data, governance, and security and management. It's a very, very big topic. So for us, we couldn't be more excited of the growth potential and also the scaling capabilities leveraging marketplace. Maybe that's why in the last 12 months, I think we're the top 5 performing SaaS stock on NASDAQ because we are able to do this at a profitable way. So we're growing profitably, and that's important to us, right? We've been organically expanding. Of course, we are also looking at some interesting IP acquisitions to expand the offering further so the MSPs and advisors can then drive that single pane of glass experience for governing unstructured data. Governing unstructured data is actually a hard problem to solve.
Yeah, definitely. It warms my heart to hear that all of you have in your investment strategies marketplace. But that's one of many big bets probably. So Mike, over to you. Like, what are some of the big bets? Like, what are you seeing in the market and where are you betting on?
Well, if you're a technology company and you're not betting on generative AI, you're probably not in a good spot. So I'm assuming that all of the panelists in their companies are doing that, and we are too. It's a major bet for us. A few examples of how we're using it. One, of course, we're using it to run our company better. All functional groups have initiatives. But in the products we're offering to our customers, as an example, we provide a contact center as a service product. And generative AI enables virtual agents. It enables sentiment analysis, so you can know, with the help of the AI, have a sense of how the customer's reacting and react appropriately. You can add intelligence by pulling all the historical data, interactions, content from that customer, and be more intelligent with how you engage with them, and so much more. So that's one major big bet. Another big bet is in integrations. We have a suite of applications, but there are also other products like Microsoft 365 and Teams, which is ubiquitous across businesses. And so we're investing a lot in deeper integrations into those products. Thirdly is in verticals. I think the top 10 verticals represent like 80% of our revenue. And so, as an example, in the healthcare space, we have major hospitals like Northwell Health in New York, LA County Department of Health. And so they all run with electronic medical record systems from companies like Epic. So integrating our solutions into that, another big bet. And then lastly, it's all around everything we're doing in the channel, whether it's a large service provider like a telco, providing our platform to make it easier for those telcos to sell our services, whether it's managed service providers or agents and providing a platform to make it easier for them to do the migrations, to do the support, and to sell and integrate our services in customized ways.
Yeah.
So lots of big bets.
Yeah, definitely. We talked a lot about AI yesterday, and I think unified communication is a perfect use case. And we talked about how AIs are performing best when they're in a very specific use case, and certainly that's a wonderful one, and we're seeing tons of productivity out of it. Srini, I'm going to come over to you. What are some of the big bets based on what you're seeing in the market?
As Mike said, if you don't say AI, you're not saying on this. But to be more specific, to implement a lot of the generative AI use cases today, to run the inferencing, it is actually quite expensive today to do it in the existing platforms and others. So one of the big bets that Rackspace has made is to actually provide private inferencing capabilities, right, through our private cloud services. And so, being able to provide that same inferencing capability at 50% of the cost that people are seeing is important, because 35% of our business is SMB. And for that customer base, it's not that they can't run away from AI and kind of avoid it. They absolutely need to do it, but they can't spend the way the big guys do. So being able to provide that enterprise inferencing in a private, secure, air-gapped way is pretty important for this. That's one big bet that we've made. The second one I would talk about is a little more from these days, like there's a lot of repatriation going on because people rush to a particular platform and then they're pulling back. So we're spending a lot of time building the tooling that makes it easier to move workloads around based on where you want to be able to do. So as a company that's steeped in technology, that's one of the big areas that we wanted to focus on.
Wonderful. I want to come back to something you said and double click. One of the big bets is on the channel and everything you're investing in. Obviously, excuse me, all of you have many routes to market. You can go direct, you can go through a partner, you can go through a distributor, you can go through a marketplace. Let's talk about the channel specifically. How does that play in your go-to-market strategy, Mike?
So Intermedia supports 150,000 plus or minus business customers globally, mostly US and Canada, but we're in EMEA and in Japan as well. And we have 7,500 partners that we use, that we partner with to support and to sell to those 150,000 business customers. 94% of our new sales go through our partners. So we're all in as partners, the way to do business. And we have a few different models. Like many of you in the room, we have an agent model. We call it an advisor model. We work with AppDirect and others to help build those relationships with the agent community. But the main way that our partners work with us is through what we call our core model, customer ownership reseller. And that is very well suited for those partners like managed service providers or telcos who want to own the customer relationship, who don't want to be a sales agent for a vendor, but are able to actually not only do the sales and marketing, but to do the onboarding, the support, the ongoing billing. And in return, Those partners buy from us at a wholesale rate. They mark it up to whatever they want. They get the top line revenue, so 5 times more revenue than under an agent model, and they get greater profits, and they own that customer relationship, which puts them in a great position to sell other products and applications around it.
But it's interesting, you've shaped your partner program recognizing that there's different types of partners, and that's how you have your agent program as well as your resale program.
Right.
Yeah, very interesting.
Thanks.
TJ, how do you view routes to market, and how do you tailor your partner program?
Yeah, so we're betting very heavy into the whole MSP segmentation. To us, it's almost becoming a vertical. In 3 years, it went from 0 to 100 million recurring business already, and it's global. So we have businesses, 50% of our business in North America, and then 30% EMEA, and then 20% APAC. And that's an area where we, again, provide single pane of glass for unstructured data governance across Microsoft 365, Azure, Power Platforms, as well as Google Workplace and Salesforce. So there's the opportunity where we see, again, just like what Mike said, we provide a standard marketplace listing for our MSPs. We're now designing solutions specifically for the MSPs for multi-tenant management and governance, pool licensing, 2-tier model of pool licensing, monthly contracts to reduce the barrier to entry. So it's very, very easy to jump on, jump off. But when you do that, we find that the retention rate is incredibly high. With our MSP partners, we're 140% NRR. So that means just with the same set of MSPs, every year they would do 40% more revenue. And obviously, we have our subscription, but on top of that, MSPs can include their services, especially around when we talk about co-pilot readiness. The critical aspect of AI deployment is you have to have a very good data estate. The quality of your data matters, so then you can do refinement training so that your AI capability is not just the summer intern, but actually somebody who is relatively knowledgeable about industry. So that means your data estate have to be clean and well governed. So that's a key aspect of enabling more higher margin services business for our partners. So we see our partners generating a lot more business, a lot more scaling, leveraging our solution. It becomes mission critical. That's why the NR is so high. So that's the absolute area that we continue to invest in, and we think that it's going to be our biggest portion of our business. Today is already a 3-digit growth business year over year.
Wow.
Yeah,
Congratulations. That's amazing. Izzy, I'll come to you now. So what are your thoughts when you have multiple choice in terms of routes to market, and how do you tailor the partner programs?
Yeah, Acronis has always been a 100% indirect model. We never do direct sales. And up until a few years ago, we were just value-added resellers. That was our main route to market. A few years ago, we decided to focus on the service provider as a channel. And today, we have 20,000 service providers that daily use our platform to protect their customers. And that is already 70% of our business. So it has really taken off significantly. That's actually the last time that we changed our partner program. I'm a very conservative person from a partner program point of view. I don't like changing partner programs. I think
partners would agree with you on that one, especially if you figure it right.
So in general, we basically created a very specific partner program for the service provider. We have a service provider in our DNA through previous companies. Some of them you know, and so we know that business quite well. And so we structure our whole partner program in the company really to grow this part of our business. Now, what I see moving forward is that, like we said before, marketplace is becoming much more prominent in the buying cycle, and the service provider needing some help after the acquisition in order to continue growing their business. We are basically structuring the future of the Acronis, not partner program, but partner model, into one where we actually go with the service provider and help them on the go-to-market right next to it so that the service provider can grow their business. In essence, that's what we think is where we're going in the next few years.
Excellent. Yep. So we have just a few minutes going, so we're going to do 2 rapid fires, right? I'm going to go around to everybody. First one takeaway you want the audience to take from this panel.
There's hundreds of millions of old phone systems still being used. Move them to UCaaS.
DJ? Good one.
I'm surprised nobody talked about security so far. I think it's a very important topic. One of the most underappreciated thing about a SaaS solution is that you really have to look at the vendor's security credential and capabilities. I was at the Microsoft CEO Summit where Satya Nadella and Bill Gates was there to talk about AI, but the most highly attended session was security, where they say actually the #1 attack surface for these state actors with standing army of PhDs is people like us, right? We actually hold and manage customers' most sensitive data in cloud. So unless you have a security capability that is hardened and be able to tangle with the state actors, and we've been doing that for 14 years. Just last week you hear about Fortinet also getting hacked. So of course we all know about CrowdStrike. So it's actually a very hot topic. Now AI is even making that more problematic. So here is where you have to look at vendors and also with the value-added service you provide to customers, that trust you have with relationship. So you have to, this is where because we have always been enterprise and we take that capability now en masse, heavy investment into channel to really grow our cross-segmentation value add. I think that's very, very important. And I think something underappreciated.
Yep, for sure. Srini.
The one thing I'd ask everyone to kind of think about is a lot of focus is put on day 0 and day 1, right? Like planning and putting a solution in place. But 95% of the life cycle of any solution, whether it's UCaaS or any of those things, is after you actually put it into production, the security and others. Pay attention to day 2 and beyond, right? And that is critical because at the rate and speed at which technology is moving. Let's take AI. You talked about AI governance and data governance, TJ. Getting a solution up and running and getting it to a certain level of accuracy is a challenge. But keeping it there as the world is evolving and new information is being generated is tougher.
Yep.
So the one thing that I would ask the whole audience to take away from is the day 2 and beyond is important. Pay attention to that as you're doing the day 0 and day 1, and it starts paying out well.
Izzy, rapid fire, 1 takeaway.
Well, following up on what DJ said, I think one of the critical developments of this year, and that is going to have a repercussion in the following years, is how everybody is starting to think about data protection and cybersecurity as one single thing. If you go to NIST framework today, the new NIST framework includes recovery from data from some sort of backup or disaster recovery solution. So if you look at penetration, though, of these solutions among your customers, you'll see that, yeah, cybersecurity, 90% plus of the workloads are protected. But when you look at backup, it's in the 30%. So huge opportunity for all of us to increase that and help our customers be ready for any potential breach of their systems in order to recover fast. I think that's a huge opportunity.
Well, great insights from all of you. Many, many thanks for joining our CEO panel today. And now we're going to turn it back to Ryan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.